Buongiorno. I hope your English is better than my Italian. Today we're talking about my top favorite five Facebook marketing tactics and strategies for 2020 and beyond. Before getting into all the details of the strategies and tactics, I wanted to introduce myself briefly. My name is Larry Kim. I'm from Canada, from a place called Winnipeg, which is famous for being colder than Mars for most of the year. I'm slightly obsessed with unicorns. I'm known for starting a company called WordStream in my 20s out of a bakery because it had free Wi-Fi and there was no rent and it had unlimited soda refills. And today the company is over 300 people managing billions of dollars of ad spend for tens of thousands of companies worldwide. It was a really fun experience to be able to grow that business from literally nothing to about 55 million in revenues last year, and I sold that business last year for $150 million to Gannett. And sometimes people ask me what that's like to sell a business for that much money. And actually, it's kind of a relief because I spend the last 10 years blogging about how to grow your business and how to be successful. It would have been very embarrassing if the company was a failure. That's a joke. I'm working on a new business today. It's called Mobile Monkey. It's in the Facebook Messenger space, and I hope to talk to you a little bit about that today. So enough about me. We're back to our story. We're talking about how to be successful in Facebook marketing in 2019 and beyond. And what I want to talk to you about is my favorite hacks. And hacks are sort of these non-obvious but not illegal tips and tricks that you can use that will, if you apply them to your account, you will have a lot of leverage. So lots of impact for very little amount of work. And here's the thing with Facebook. The news feed is dying. There's a lot of problems with the Facebook news feed. Less people are using it every day. And the problem is that on one hand, Facebook is getting in a lot of trouble for posting all sorts of terrible things on the news feed, like these terrorist live streams and stuff like this. But at the same time, they're getting a lot of trouble when they try to censor these hateful things from their news feed. And so Facebook doesn't want to be in the business of policing the news feed. It's just impossible for them to do. And earlier this year at F8 conference in San Francisco, Mark Zuckerberg proclaimed that the future of Facebook is messaging, that the future of Facebook is a encrypted and private messaging services. And I think that makes a lot of sense, but the question for a lot of marketers is, how do you do marketing, like advertising and organic marketing, in a new world of Facebook where the future is private messaging? And so that's what I wanted to talk to you today about, how to do this marketing in a future where the primary focus of Facebook is messaging, private messaging. And so messaging, it's a lot like email marketing. It's also a lot like your website. So it's like email marketing because you can do push notifications. So you can send content to your subscribers. It's also a lot like website or landing page marketing because the content that you send is interactive, just like a website. So you can send surveys, you can send registrations, reminders. You can send out drip campaigns, and so it's a little bit like combining email and website marketing. I actually think that this is a really exciting field of marketing that this will be a very important area to focus in the next 5 to 10 years, chat marketing. And so the way that chat marketing works on Facebook is that in the past, whenever someone would message your page, they would send a message to your business. That message would end up in a page inbox, and then it would be up to a social media manager to manually review the contents of that inbox and respond to those inquiries. Now, the problem with this is that it's not very scalable. It just it requires human intervention to answer all these messages. And so A few years ago, Facebook released an API for their Messenger product, which is like for programmers, but that allows companies like MobileMonkey and other software companies to create chat software programs which will allow you to download all the messages from Facebook into a product so that you can import all that information and send messages to those users automatically. And so it's a little bit like email marketing, as I was saying before. All you need to do is create some content. It's like a message or some images to send to your contact list, and you can do something called a chat blast, which is where you send the content that you want to promote to your users via a messaging blast. And so all you need to do is just specify an audience of who you want to send to, and you can just fire away and send those messages to those subscribers. Now, this is a lot like email marketing, but it's actually a lot better than email marketing because the messages that you're sending to your users are distributed via push notification to Facebook Messenger, and the messages that you're sending are more interactive than email. So in email marketing, there's no expectation of being able to respond to an email, but in messaging, you can send interactive messages that users can respond to, which your chatbot can then respond to automatically. So, for example, one thing that I use messaging is for blog blasting. So whenever I create a new piece of content, I send the new article to my blog subscribers, both on email but also through messaging. And Neil Patel is one of my subscribers, and I know that he reads my blog content because I can see his avatar there at the bottom corner. A lot of people might be wondering, like, is this spam or is this, it seems a little spammy. Is this for real? And I wanted to compare with you the open rates and click-through rates of email versus messaging. So as I was mentioning before, I send blog content both to an email newsletter subscribers and through a chat subscribers. And what you can see here is that the open rates for messaging is about 3 to 10 times higher, so 60% open rates. And the click-through rates, so people who then click on the article, are typically 10 to 20 times higher. So instead of a 1% click-through rate, it's 10 to 20% click-through rates. And that's because this is just a more engaging marketing channel. Messaging is significantly more difficult to spam than email marketing because you can't just buy a list of of chat subscribers. You have to have them opt into your messaging, and there's no way to send them messages if they opt out. And the content that you can send is more dynamic and interactive. So now that I've kind of described to you how messenger marketing works, I wanted to show you how to actually build these systems. How do you actually make this work? So this is an example of a chat experience where a user is talking to a chatbot. So this is not a human talking to another human. It's a human talking to a robot. And this is, like I said, it's like an email marketing with a website experience combined. And the question is, how do you make these interactive experiences? And so what most people do is they'll just use a chatbot builder like MobileMonkey. And as I was saying before, it's pretty simple. There's different types of content that you can send to your users. There's dynamic and static content. Static content is just text and images. There's other forms of static content such as videos and stuff like this. But all you do is you just insert them into your message, into the dialogue that you're sending, and they get rendered in messaging as a block of text or an image. There's other forms of static content that you can send to your users. For example, you can send attachments and videos rather than sending links to files. You can just embed those files directly within the chat experience. Now the question becomes, how do you make these experiences dynamic, like collecting registration information, which is so important for marketers? Well, there's different elements, dynamic elements called forms and quick questions that you can add. And what this does is it allows you to ask the user questions like, what's your email address, what's your phone number, what time for the webinar would you like to show up for? And this allows you to then send this content to the user, and it becomes rendered in a chat experience as dynamic content. So here it is. It's like it's sending the webinar information, but it's also asking the user what time do they want to go to, as well as further contact information. And so just like how a website can collect user registration data, you can do the same thing conversationally using messaging. One of the most important features of messaging is the idea of user segmentation. So you can ask users questions so that you can learn more about their interests and make segmentations in terms of being able to send them information that they're interested in. This is an example where you ask the users, are you an agency or an in-house advertiser? And the reason why this is so important is because the follow-up questions can be then customized exactly to their interests and their identity. So if they say they're an agency, then you can ask them, like, how many clients do you manage? If they say that they're an in-house advertiser, the follow-up question would be like, what's the primary objective of your marketing? These are known as messenger funnels or dialogues, and this is very critical and unique for messaging. Another thing that you can do is you can define custom audiences based on conversational criteria. So for example, I can create a custom audience of every user who said that they worked at an agency. Once I have that custom audience, I can then create a custom list of people so that I can send them specific chat blasts in the future. For example, this is an example of a message that I sent to all the agencies who signed up for my distribution list. And it says here, hey Larry, we're having a special event just for marketing agencies. Would you like to join us? And these types of chat marketing campaigns generate 85% response rates, which is a lot higher than any other form of marketing out there. Another thing that's really great about messaging is that you can pre-fill all of the answers. So Facebook already has the emails and phone numbers of the users that you're engaging with, and so because messaging is a mobile technology, you can pre-fill all the answers with all the phone numbers and emails and address information that's already on file. In terms of how to get people to navigate these different chat experiences, you can use buttons or you can use natural language processing. So a button-based navigation is very similar to a phone tree. When you call a business, it says press 1 for sales, press 2 for customer service. You can do this in chat where you just describe all the different options that your chatbot supports. So for example, there's a contact button, there's a button for directions. This is a very easy way to do chatbot navigation because it tells users what to expect. The other way of doing chatbot navigation is to use natural language processing. So natural language processing is kind of like Siri or Google Home or Alexa. They don't have a menu. It just asks, like, how can I help you today? And you can ask them anything, and it will try to respond. So how do marketers use natural language processing? It's actually very simple. In our example, we were creating content for a webinar registration form. And all you need to do is specify some keywords for the content that you're creating. So those are called triggers. So in this case, because we were creating a webinar registration form, we can add some triggers like today's webinar or register for webinar. And then what happens is that every time a user talks to your chat bot, the chatbot will analyze what the user is asking and try to infer what it is they're asking for. If there's a match with the content that you've previously created, it will correctly serve that content to that user. This is very similar to Google AdWords, how in Google AdWords you have to create ads, but also specify keywords to trigger the ads. And then what Google does is it searches user queries and tries to match the queries against the ads and keywords that you specify. Another thing that you should do is that you should review all of the questions that people are asking your chatbot, because what you'd like to do is provide answers for all the frequently asked questions so that the next time people ask for those questions, it'll be able to answer those questions. Of course, it's not a fully automated process. You can always jump into the conversation and tell the chatbot to shut up at any time. You can manually go in and, just like before, interact with users manually by typing, directly in the Facebook page inbox. So now that I've described to you how to set up these chat experiences, I wanted to give you a couple tips on how to do incredibly powerful chat blasting tactics and strategies, because it's a little different from email marketing in that you shouldn't just copy and paste your emails into a messaging window. So one of the strategies is just to use a psychological principle of consistency. And what this means is that people really love to they love to know that you're listening to them. And it's a very powerful conversational strategy where you just reflect back whatever the user is saying to you in every subsequent follow-up. And this is used by salespeople everywhere. So the first question I'm asking them is like, how would you describe yourself with respect to chat marketing? Are you a beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Now, it doesn't matter to me how they answer. I'm still going to try to sell them some chat marketing software course, okay? But depending on how they answer here, I can rephrase the language of my follow-ups. So if they say they're novices, I can say, well, great news, I've created a chat training program specifically for people like you who are new to chat marketing and need a guided path to expertise. Like it's just reflecting back the user's identity and their interests and behaviors, like in the marketing copy. Another example of how to use chat marketing effectively is to employ the principle of reciprocal concessions. This is for an example of this principle. I have a 4-year-old son, and sometimes he might, ask me for things like, can I get a new Xbox, or can I get a new, ping pong table? I say no, and then he says like, can I get a cookie? And then I say, okay, you can have a cookie. So that's the principle of reciprocal concessions. What that means is that because I believe that my son is making attempts to be more reasonable, then I in turn should reciprocate and try to be more reasonable with him as well. And so this principle works in sales and marketing, where you start by offering a chatbot training video course for $199 and asking them what they think of it. 99% of people will say it's too expensive, but that's okay. Because what you can then do is respond to that by saying, like, I agree with you, that's way too expensive. Here's a 94% coupon code so that you could get it for like, $9 instead. And so by, being more, by making a concession to the customer, they are more likely to favor your offer because they've anchored on the $199 price tag, and they think this is now a bargain. So these are tactics that are employed conversationally by salespeople like everywhere, but marketers were never able to employ these types of conversational tactics because landing pages are static, because ads are static. It's not an interactive medium like email marketing. All of this, it's just like you present them with an offer and send them to a landing page. There was no back and forth. Chat marketing is a little bit like email marketing in that it's way more interesting if you have a huge contact list. Like if you're doing chat marketing to just 10 people, it's not very interesting. It becomes more interesting if you have hundreds or thousands of people on your list. And so I wanted to give you a couple tips and tricks on how to grow your chat marketing list, your distribution list. So in the olden days of marketing, we would create landing pages and drive tons of traffic to these pages using SEO and Google ads and Facebook ads so that we could collect users' email addresses. The problem with collecting user email addresses is that open rates on emails is like 4 or 5% these days. So the new way I would suggest to look into for doing marketing is to collect chat subscribers, because They're just so much more engaging and so much more valuable. And the way to do this is to get people to opt into receiving messages from your business is that they have to message your business. Once they message your business, they've opted into receiving responses from you and your business. And so the slow way of generating contacts is just waiting for people to message your business, which is not very effective. A better way to capture messaging permissions is to set up all these different lead magnets for collecting messenger contacts. For example, one thing that you can do is use something called a comment guard, which is a private autoresponder for your Facebook posts. So this is a quiz that I put on my Facebook page called "The Battle of the English and the Math." Like, one rabbit saw 6 elephants while going to the river. Every elephant saw 2 monkeys. How many animals are going to the river? So it's just a riddle, and I'm asking people to type in their guess in the comments, and that I will send them privately through Messenger the response, the answer, as well as an explanation of why that's the case. And so anyone who comments then becomes a subscriber to your messaging application. You can use this kind of tactic in all sorts of industries. Here's an example from a realtor. The realtor is posting a picture of a recently sold house. They're saying, this house was listed at $100,000. Can anyone guess what it sold for? Type in your guess in the comments, and we will send you the actual value, the actual price, as well as a property market guide for 2019. So these are like really fantastic ways to engage your audiences. Like, I think in Facebook marketing, a lot of people like to just post on their Facebook wall like blog posts saying like how great they are. You should instead be thinking about how to engage your audiences by asking them questions and having them engage with you in this way. How do you set up these comment guards? Using tools like Mobile Monkey, you just choose what content to send to users. So you just have to craft a response. You can specify a frequency cap. That just means that you don't want to keep sending the same person messages over and over. And then you have to just choose which messages to apply these responses to. So you can have different responses for different posts. Another way of collecting opt-ins for messaging is to send users to Messenger landing pages. So you see that blue button there? Like, if someone clicks on that blue button, what happens is that they've given you permission to send them messages. So previously, we used to send people to those landing pages where you'd ask them for all their information, like first, last name, email address, et cetera, et cetera. Going forward, it's very simple. You just have to ask them to press one button, and then what Facebook will do is it'll send you all of their information, like their first name, last name, gender, location, time zone, profile photo, and messaging permissions. So you receive all that information just by them clicking one button. And this is just a much more cleaner layout than having those long, complicated forms, especially for mobile. A third way to collect chat contacts is to use something called a website chat widget. So this is just a chat widget where the user is talking to your business, to your chatbot. But every time someone messages your business through this mechanism, they become a contact. So you receive all their user information and get the permissions to send them messages in the future. Another way is to have opt-in boxes wherever you're collecting emails, also collect messenger contacts so that you can add them to your list. I wanted to talk about Facebook Messenger ads. This is a really fantastic way to grow your contact list. Facebook ads are very expensive today, and the prices are much higher today than they were 6 years ago. When I started doing Facebook ads in 2013, it was like $1 per 1,000 impressions. Today it's closer to $100 to $150 for those same audiences. And basically, I've really changed how I do Facebook advertising. Specifically, I focus mostly on this new ad format called Messenger ads. And I think these are very interesting ads. They're a little different from regular Facebook ads because when you click on that button, instead of going to a website, it sends you to a chat experience, okay? I say that these have 100% conversion rates because anyone who clicks on that button, you receive all their contact information as well as messaging permissions. So using regular ads as a comparison, you have to pay $3 or $4 or $5 for every click. And then maybe there's a 2 or 3% chance that when they get to your website that they'll end up signing up for whatever offer that you're promoting. But with Messenger ads, you receive the contact information for everyone who clicks on the ad. So that's a little, significantly better, a significantly better value for the advertiser. And so I love this approach because it reduces assumptions, it increases the engagement, and puts the customer in control. So for example, because you get their messaging, you get messaging permissions and their contact information, you don't have to put all the information in your initial ad because anyone who clicks, you can follow up with them. So that takes off some of the pressure. Instead, you can ask them about themselves and their interests and then try to find an offer that's right for them. So how do you use these Facebook Messenger ads? You just go into the ad manager and create this new ad format called Messenger ad. And just design your copy and your creative just like you would create any Facebook ad. The difference is that instead of sending them to a landing page on your website, you have to use the tools that I was showing you before, like the dialogues and the questions. You have to create a chat experience for them to go to instead of a website. And so in this case, this example, I'm going to create a registration form for a Facebook training event, and it allows me I can visually design that kind of interaction experience, and then link the ad to the chat experience in Ad Manager. And I wanted to just show you an example of this ad in real life because it was a very effective campaign. Basically, it's just asking them, are you a Facebook advertiser? Yes, I am. That's great. We're having a summit. Are you an agency or an advertiser? They're an agency. And now we talk about, well, we've got, as an agency advertiser, we think that this is very important. Here are all the benefits. Do you want to sign up for this event? How do I sign up? So this is a very engaging kind of a dialogue through messaging that still sends users to your website. Okay, but the difference is that I've gotten all of their information, all their name and messaging permissions, and I was able to get information about what they're interested in, so that I can then send them to the correct offer on my website. What happens after they click? So as I was mentioning before, you receive all their contact information and messaging permissions, and that's given to you by Facebook. And what you can do is use that information to engage and nurture those leads. So for example, you could set up a drip campaign that sends out automatically, for every new contact, you could send out, 4, 5, 6 messages, in the next 24 hours, that offer like, follow-up offers, like join our Facebook group, or, check out this blog post, or other kind of follow-up, case studies. You can just send it to them automatically. Another thing you can do is you can send the data that you've collected through chat into your CRM, like Salesforce or HubSpot. You can just synchronize that data. Another thing you can do is create those audiences and synchronize them with Facebook ads, so that the chat audiences that you've created could be remarketed to in Instagram or in Facebook using conventional ad remarketing. A final idea is to do chat blasting. So this is just sending out one-off periodic messages to those users who've expressed interest based on their conversations with you. These Facebook Messenger ads are significantly cheaper. I'm able to generate leads for $3 to $5, and they're more qualified because I get to collect detailed information about their identity, behaviors, and interests, which is not as easy to do using regular web pages. And as the user is engaging with your company via messaging, what's happening is they're actually building up brand affinity with you and your company. And we know that the more familiar people are with your business, the more likely they are to click on your content and buy your stuff. They're 3 to 5 times more likely, than if they have brand affinity to become a customer than if they don't. So in summary, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me on this epic journey from donkey land to unicorn land, I wanted to summarize some of the hacks that we're talking about today. We talked about messaging ads. We've talked about integrating chat with your website and how to, turn people who comment on your page into subscribers, and how to build bots, and how to use conversational tactics to convert users. This presentation is available at the link below there, and it's actually a chatbot that'll send you the link, so you should try that out. Just to wrap things up, what does it all mean? I think messaging is really an interesting channel for you to be exploring. There's more daily active users on messaging applications than on social media, but less than 1% of businesses are doing any messaging marketing to their customers, and I think that's crazy. There's approximately 1.3 billion daily active users on Facebook Messenger, and the engagement rates are about 10 to 100 times better than email and regular social media marketing. People already overwhelmingly prefer messaging over email, and earlier this year, it was leaked that Facebook is integrating Messenger with Instagram and WhatsApp. So by next year, you'll be able to reach, pretty much everyone. Who in the world doesn't have either a Messenger, Instagram, or WhatsApp account? It's pretty much everyone. In summary, I think chatbots and messaging, this is a very powerful top-of-the-funnel marketing tool that you need to be thinking about for lead generation, lead qualification, marketing automation, and then just online advertising type of solutions. I think if you're an agency, this is a very valuable offering to be offering to your clients. And I just want to thank you, everyone, for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Se volete fare qualche domanda, abbiamo tempo per un paio di domande. Se mi alzate la mano, ecco, ci sono le ragazze. Ah, ce l'hai?
Ciao.
Un attimo. Aspetta un attimo, mi raccomando, scendiamo senza fare tanta confusione, perché altrimenti, tanto il tempo di spostarsi ce l'abbiamo, questa sala è in perfetto orario, quindi non accade nulla. Grazie mille per la collaborazione. Prego.
Thank you. I would like to ask you something. When you do an ads on Facebook, like with the send message option, I guess, because it's pretty happened to me too, you receive a lot of answers like info please, more info please, a lot of messages like that under the ad. So I would like to know, how do you manage it? How do you manage this kind of answer from people? Like, you can fill the form, or in other way? Thank you.
Just create the private autoresponders to that ad so that people who comment on the ad receive the same dialogue that people who would have clicked on the ad would have received. So just send them to the same place if they click on your ad or if they comment.
Qualche altra domanda?
Can you switch languages within the chat box?
Yes, so Facebook gives you a lot of information about the user, like their location, time zone, and also language. And you can detect the user's language and present different content based on what their language setting is.
And I want to ask how you manage misspelling.
Misspellings?
In the chatbot. Yeah. How do you manage them?
It's the same like in Google. So chatbot providers like MobileMonkey have natural language processing capabilities. So it's like broad match in Google AdWords. So you don't have to specify every single word.
Correctly,
if it's close enough, it'll match the intent of what the user is searching for with the content that you've created.
Thank you.
And that natural language processing works in like 30 or 40 different languages.
Did you ever manage to provide a cross-platform integration as to send emails and more mature content and then Chatbot to drip feed users?
That kind of integration is just something that you'd have to create in-house. You'd have to ask users for their email addresses and then synchronize that information with your MailChimp.
There's nothing like an API to get the lists out of Mobile Monkey and get them integrated with some kind of CRM?
Yeah, it's the webhooks or Zapier.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So there is a...
Yeah.
Ok, grazie a tutti. Thank you very much, Larry Kim. Thank you.